So this week we have decided we'd do a makeup theme, and because I can't do makeup for shit normally, I decided to go down the SFX route because that's what I want a career in. I suppose this isn't the best I could do. I was very pushed for time. It wasn't actually what I wanted to do to begin with. I wanted to put a fake eye prosthetic in and stuff like that, but I was running out of time, so this is what it ended up being. So if you want to see how to recreate this look, stay tuned and I'll show you how. Right, so I've got my eyeliner pencil and I'm just going to roughly draw on the lines shape that I want for the mouth. So I'm just doing ever so slightly little ones, and then I might not even do this full size. I might wipe half of this off, I don't know yet, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply latex over this whole area and then use scissors to cut through it. So it doesn't matter what is on my face because it's getting covered with latex. So this section here will be covered and we will go from there. So the next step you want to do is get yourself some latex. I have quite a large amount of it, so and a little cup to deposit it from, and equipment to use it to apply it with. I wouldn't suggest using brushes. I have a set of brushes I use specifically for latex that I can just mess about with or throw out later on. I have a really good set over here for actually applying things like makeup and the bruise wheel. So I'm not using these ones, I'm just using some really cheap ones or ones I've been given for free that I don't use otherwise, so that I don't damage my good ones. I'm just closing the lid on the glue. And yes, you'll notice I am doing this in just my binder and no shirt, because I don't want to be getting fake blood on any good shirts, and I've got a shirt to wear, but it's just going to get in the way doing my makeup if I put it on now. So what we're going to do is we're going to start doing the latex. Now I need to go get some tissue roll. For applying latex, I would suggest getting like a sponge, a disposable sponge. You can use, I don't own one of those anymore. I used to have a whole pack of them, but I used them all, so now I've just got these cheap free brushes I was given. So I'm just trying to find a right sized one to use. I just need a little small. There we go. That's perfect. So I'm just using this tiny little one. This is the one I'd normally use for latex. As you can see, it's got a bit of latex damage and it's really stiff onto it, but it's too big for today's video. So I'm just going to use a little tiny one just for this section. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to take a packet of latex and I'm just going to open it up like so and pour a little bit into a cup. You can always add more. Where I live, latex isn't easy to acquire, nor is it cheap, so I don't like using too much, and I'm just going to add more when I need it into the bowl. So for your first step, you're just going to take your brush, dip it in your latex and run it across the area you have lined out. Doesn't have to be neat, doesn't have to be tidy. This is going to be able to fix up later. So just going to run it along the sides here. Like so. And then you're going to want to do that on the other side as well, but I'm going to layer up this side first. So I'm going to show you how to layer up this side first, and then I'm going to repeat it on the other side. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take your toilet roll, and you're going to want to take a square of it, and you're going to split that square in half. So you've got a really thin square like this, and then you're just going to take a piece of it, just ripping it down, and you're going to apply some latex to your face again. And then on top of that, you are just going to take your little piece, like so, and you're going to stick it down on top of the latex. And then on top of that, you're going to add another layer of latex just to seal it down and have it set in. Right, and so you're going to want to repeat that process over and over again until you've built up a nice, strong layer of latex on your face. Alright, so make sure you leave each layer to dry in between. I'm going to speed it up by using a hairdryer, just because I don't have as much time as I normally would to do a look like this. Started on the other side of my face, and I've just laid up 2 layers on the side, a couple more layers on this side, so there's about 5 layers on this side, 2 on this side. I'm just going to keep layering them up until they're even as well. I'm going to even out this side as well. Alright, so my camera has died, so I'm just put it on charge, but I'm going to record this next segment on my phone. Well, the battery charges, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a pair of scissors. I'm going to cut sections into the latex to make gashes into this area. I didn't want to pile it up too high because I don't want these to be too deep looking, and I can add deep depth effects later on, but for now I'm just going to leave it as they're layered. Just going to let them dry a little bit more, and then I will show you how I'm going to cut into them. Okay, so now that the latex is dried, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open my mouth, get into the corner here, and very carefully cut through the latex. I'm going to look at my mirror to do this correctly, so hopefully you can see. I'm going to be very careful doing this. There we go. And so that gives you the effect of it being ripped open or cut open, and it moves with the shape of your mouth as well, which is what I wanted. Alright, so I'm back on my camera now. Because yeah, my camera died, so I've got my camera back on battery, and I'm going to move on to actually colouring in this half of my face. So from here down, I won't touch this area just yet with anything, because I don't want to yet. So yeah, I'm gonna apply my normal everyday makeup to my face from here down, and then work on the special effects makeup in this area and the bruising and all that sort of stuff. So however you wear your makeup normally is what you'll just want to do everywhere around aside from the mouth. So I'm just going to do that. you do whatever you do, and then come back for the next step. Alright, that's a bit better. Just changed the side of the camera because the lighting was getting darker. It was starting to get too dark to actually record in the direction I was facing. So you're going to apply foundation to the area as well. It's not in here, but you're going to apply it to everywhere but the inside of the gouges. You're probably going to need a lot of foundation for this one, just so make sure you got plenty in, because the latex will not easily take to the colour unless you use quite a significant amount of it. Just make sure you apply quite a generous amount to the actual latex so it does go a skin tone colour. So as you can see on the top, it's quite yellowy normally. So try and get it as skin tone plus colour as possible without making it look too caked on. Alright, so once you've applied your makeup, make sure it's all blended in properly. I use both a mixture of brush and a beauty blender, just to make sure it's also nice and smooth. The makeup on your latex will look a bit more obvious, but that's okay. As long as you have the gap in between left uncovered, you are perfectly fine to have it a bit more obvious. So next we're going to take, I use this wound palette, so it's just a black, a dark brown, a red and a yellow. And so I'm going to take a brand new brush, a rather small one, so these are my good brushes, so I'm just going to take a really small brush. I'm just going to take the dark brown, like so, and I'm just going to fill in the little gap in here. I'm going to try and cake the colour in as much as I can, and then I'm going to clean this off first. Make sure you do clean in between using the different colours on your bruise palettes, because, drop my mirror, they will stain colours. So when you're swapping in between, make sure you get yourself a makeup wipe and give the brush a good clean before moving on to the next colour. Especially if you're going from a darker to a lighter colour, it's always good to know what you're doing and not mix your colours, because then you get weird colours in your actual palette. Gonna make sure that's nice and cleaned off, not yet. Just rub it against my leg to make sure it's nice and to see if there's any more colour coming off of it. And when I no longer get colour coming up, I know that it is safe to put it into the next colour. Next I'm going to take a bit of the black. I'm just going to gently apply it to the area, not too much so that it doesn't go black, but just enough to make it a darker colour. Like so. So now you get quite a lot of depth in those, and I'm going to repeat the process on the other side of my face. Again, make sure you are wiping off the colours from your brush before you put it into the next one. What you're going to want to do next is, this is when things start to get a bit messy. You're going to want to take your red, your bright red, this one down here, and you're just going to want to apply it ever so gently to the edges of the wounds that have folded over from cutting them, like so, on both sides. Top and bottom. Right, next you're going to want to, things can get a bit messy here because you're going to take I use this brand, it's really good for dripping. It's quite expensive, but cheap blood will work too. So I'm going to take this, I'm just going to drip it into the wound and then have it fall down my face a bit. So, I'm sorry you couldn't exactly see that, I had to use a mirror right close up to it. Thing I like about this blood is it's nice and thick and dark. I'm going to give little drops on the edge of them. Like so. Not too much, not too in your face, and then what you're going to do is you're going to take a slightly cheaper version of fake blood, or a more runny version, whatever you want to call it, and a brush. You're going to dab it onto the brush, then you're going to dab the brush into your hand until you get spatter-like, and then you're just going to spatter a bit in the area. Not too much, but this works best with the cheaper stuff because it's runnier. And so you just dab it in your hand, dab your brush, splatter it on a bit. So the thing I was originally going to do for my eye, I've decided I'm not going to do, so I've removed the blocked out eyebrow I had going on, and I'm just going to do a little bit more of a simple look in that area, rather than going what I was going to do. And that just requires me to use a bruise palette and bruise my eye area and stuff like that, because I'm actually running very short on time, so I can't do what I was going to do, but I can give a eye look regardless, so I'm going to do that instead. And then I'll finish off this area and we will call that. So in order to bruise the eye area, what you're going to do is you're going to take a brush and a bruise palette, and you're going to take the yellow and you're just going to apply it into the area you want to have bruised, like so. And it's going to look quite bright at first, but as you brush it out and you fade it out, it starts to look a bit less yellowy. And you're also going to be changing the colours up, so it will slowly become less yellow through that as well. So you're just going to want to lightly apply it to the area. Use a mix of the brush in your hand if you want to. I think I can blend it better with my fingers, so I tend to do that quite a lot. So yeah, so we're just going to blend it in to my skin, and I've left it quite yellow in the top corner here because that's where I'm going to put the bruising, as I'm going to put it in this little section here. Now if you have piercings, be very careful with how you apply your makeup. You don't want to get anything that you don't want to have in your piercings in the areas. So now I'm just adding the green into where I want the darker section of the wound to be. And as you can see, it's going quite a nice colour already, so I'm just going to bruise in here as well, and then fade it out to down here. Next you're going to take your blue, and you're going to want to actually brush this off onto your hand first, and just choose the tiniest amount in the corner of your eye. And finally you're going to add a tiny bit of the purple just to make the bruising more dark. Just going to take a tiny bit of this purple in the corner like that, and then just add it into the very, very, very deepest section of the bruise, which will be in this corner here, and only ever so slightly blend it out into the rest. of the bruise. And then tidy up any sections you don't want, like I'm going to get rid of this section here and a little bit from over here with just a makeup wipe. So I'm just going to gently wipe the little sections I don't want and bring a tiny bit of from out here out, and there we go. I'm going to get changed, and then once I'm changed I'm going to get a bit of the edit what I was going to edit on the outside of this, and then I'm going to do my hair. So yeah. Right, so I've just popped on a shirt that I had worn for Halloween last year, which is why it's covered in fake blood. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to that fake blood that I used earlier. I'm just going to drip a bit more into the wound now that the rest has dried. Alright, so I've added a bit more of the fake blood. Now I'm just going to do my hair, and then we will call that the look. So my hair wasn't quite dry when I tied it up, so I don't know how dry it'll be now. Oh, it's fairly dry enough to take the haircut style I wanted. So yeah, it wasn't exactly what I'd originally intended to do, but I guess it's something. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like and comment down below what you'd like to see for another theme week from us, and yeah. So I will see you guys in the next video. Bye! Drinking cold coffee at the moment because I haven't made myself another coffee since this morning and my coffee went cold. So yeah.